All right, what's up, everybody? Pablo with LeadFlow here. Just giving you guys a basic 0 to 10K roadmap. I'm not saying that you have to listen to this exact strategy right here in this particular order, but I think this is just a general guideline here that will help get you to that 0 to 10K point and past it. So I kind of did a similar process here in my business. That's the only reason why I'm sharing it kind of in this order right here. So obviously, first and foremost is the equipment. When I was first starting, I was working a 9 to 5. I was doing construction. I had a couple $100 extra that I was willing to spend. And I basically took a weekend to get all the equipment that I needed. And I believe I spent about 400 to about $450 to get most of the things that I needed to get going. And the beauty of this stuff is, you do one window job, you do one pressure washing job, you make a couple $100. You could really pay for all this stuff within your first day or two if you really try. I was, door knocking basically with all the equipment in my truck, just ready to do jobs right then and there. And I did have my equipment paid off within the first 2 days, which is great. So what a lot of people I see do is they think that they need to buy the best stuff right away. If you have the money, go for it because you're going to end up buying that equipment anyways. But I just utilize a lot of Facebook Marketplace, a lot of Craigslist, wherever you can find just cheap used equipment. I mean, if you buy a Honda pressure washer, that thing's going to last forever. So, um, I would look at stuff that's like over 2.5 gallons per minute if you can. Spend a couple $100 on a good pressure washer. This will be your saving grace right here. You don't want to buy a really shitty one. You don't want to buy one that is going to take you forever to complete a driveway or a house wash. If it's like less than 2 gallons per minute, you're going to want to invest in good equipment right away. But if you don't have the capital, it's totally understandable. But utilize these resources like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. I mean, I think I got my ladder, my little giant 17-foot ladder for like $100 here. I got my Stihl leaf blower for like $125 here. So, and there's a ton of inventory here. You can always negotiate on price. So if you don't have that much capital to get started, I would definitely refine those sales skills and try to get a good deal here. But equipment is first and foremost. If you want to go crazy with it, you want to drop $1,000, $1,500 and get absolutely everything you need, be my guest. Just use that as motivation to make that money back even quicker. Some guys really are, thinking about getting like a deionized water filter with the water fed pole so that they can do window cleaning jobs quickly. And you can, but just be willing to spend a little bit of money. But like I said, I just got started with a ladder, a brush, and a leaf blower, pretty much. So all in all, under $500 to get started. Once you kind of have your equipment and you know what to expect on a job, you really have to know what your market wants, right? If you're in an area where, like, in Arizona or something, where window cleaning and solar panel cleaning, or Southern California for that matter, where you guys don't get a lot of rain, you're going to probably want to focus on those services. Maybe you know that roof washes are like really high ticket, or house washes can get you a lot of money. But in your area, if that's just not a popular service, you're just going to be beating a dead horse here. You have to listen to your market. You have to be flexible. That's part of being a business owner, is trying to understand not only what your clients tell you, but what your market's telling you. Okay. If people are hitting you up for window cleaning, you're a window cleaning business. If people are hitting you up for roof cleaning, you're a roof cleaning business. Do whatever the market tells you to do. Don't try to force your way into anything. Don't try to force these things. You have to listen to the market always. And not only that, you have to be comfortable with doing something right away. For me, soft washing a roof was really kind of, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what ratios. I've never connected a soft wash pump to a 12-volt battery and a tank. I didn't know what to expect with the bleach. I didn't know how it would react on these shingles. I was really nervous. I kind of just jumped right into it, and luckily it worked out. But you do want to get a couple of these jobs under your belt, whether it's family and friends, whether you're doing it for free or for a neighbor or for a good price. You want to get comfortable, not only so that you feel more confident going into jobs, but you understand how long it's going to take, and then you can audit your time and price people accordingly. Okay, because first big soft wash job I ever did, it took me 2.5 days. I mean, I'm not kidding you. It was a huge house. It was like a 2.5 story, super steep pitch. I had to rope up. It was I was in way over my head. I had to do like the gutters and the soft washing and the house wash, and I was just like, "Fuck, I should have charged way more." So don't sell yourself short. Understand what it takes to really do a job, price it right, know what your expenses are. If you're buying SH, if you're, buying gas for your equipment, or you're buying more equipment, just understand that before you dive in too deep. The third thing here, I mean, this is kind of just a very general thing. It applies to every single step, but you have to have this mindset now. When you're making an extra $1,000 to $2,000, you're like, great, this is a side hustle. But what takes a side hustle to a business is the mindset. You have to have that owner's mentality. You can't just think like an employee. And that means being comfortable spending money. I know that, if you did a big roof wash or whatever over the weekend and you pocket $500 to $1,000, you're thinking, oh, I need to hold on to this. And, you know, slowly I'll have like 10K saved up and then I can buy a trailer or whatever. Don't think of it that way. That's house money. You need to invest it in the business. The business is a fire. Okay, you have to feed it oxygen, and oxygen is money. So don't hold on to your dollars. Just do what you have to do to get this business to 10K. If you have to eat turkey sandwiches every single day, I mean, obviously maybe it's not that extreme, but you have to sacrifice for the business. Okay, the business is growing. It needs money. It needs time. It needs dedication. And utilize free things. Okay, social media is great. Go on to Facebook groups, post a bunch of stories, send out a bunch of DMs. You have to leverage all these free resources and platforms. Local Facebook groups are great for contractors, realtors, just regular like HOAs and communities. You can put your stuff out there and it's free. I mean, literally, there's no downside to it. You're getting exposure. People might see it, they share it, they might contact you. You have nothing to lose but time. Just put an hour or two, every couple days into utilizing those free platforms. Once you get to around 0 to 4K, you really want to focus on locking in more clients. Door knocking is great, but once you start getting a little bit of money, maybe consider start investing in things like door hangers, flyers, get some business cards. Obviously, you want to start looking more professional. When I first started, I didn't have really like a logo. I didn't have a system in place. I didn't have a website. I was just trying to be that friendly guy in the neighborhood that was willing to clean your gutters because I know you didn't want to. Okay. But once you start getting that money, you really need to start investing in things that are going to get you more clients and more money because every problem you have in your business can be solved with more money. So invest initially in yourself, and then invest in the business. This is kind of the same as this mindset thing here. We want to use social media platforms. Join a local BNI. Some of these cost money. Some of them are pretty expensive. Actually, they might cost $1,000 to $2,000 a year. But there are some free local networking things. I mean, I used to just cold call realtors, property managers, insurance agents, just try to be friends with these people. And, it goes a long way. Your network in your local community is great. You want to really focus on having an online presence, but don't forget about this real world presence. You want to have this face to face connection with people that will be a good referral for you, and they'll be a good referral as well. If you're friends with painters, HVAC guys, whatever, every time you go to a house, there's always something that the homeowner needs. And if you can build a network of people, not only is it free, but it's going to help you look more legitimate as a business. All right, so now when you're in the 0 to 5K, usually this is where people start making the same amount, if not more money than they were in their 9 to 5. So now this is not a side hustle anymore. This is your business. You need to treat it like such. And what that means is raising your standard, okay? Because in the beginning, yes, you do kind of have to eat a shit sandwich. You do have to give discounts because you have no credibility, no trust, no social proof. You're just trying to get as much experience under your belt as possible while trying to make as much money as possible as well. But right around here is where you really have to start thinking like, I do not want to be the $99 driveway guy. I do not want to be the $50 gutter guy. You do not want to compete with the weekend warriors. You want to set yourself apart from those people and be in your own lane and only compete with the best guys in the business. And that will kind of come later with the branding and things like that. But your pricing is super important, okay? I know in the beginning you don't have that trust factor, so you're going to have to kind of maybe cut yourself a break. But there's also a good opportunity for you to practice your sales skills, your negotiating. Are you able to upsell? This is where you really start to refine the process because now your time is more valuable. You know, you might have been making $20, $25 an hour, but now as a business owner in this company, in your company, you should be really looking for like $75 to $100 an hour. And that grows exponentially, you know, and eventually you just start passing the work off to somebody else. But you always want to keep those things in mind and audit your time. That's super important, especially when you're scaling. You do not want to be the head technician, the marketing manager, the business owner, the guy who gets all the equipment. You don't want to wear all the hats in your business. You want to know what's worth your time, what's going to be making you that $75 to $100 an hour, not the stupid monotonous task that you can hire somebody $20 an hour for. All right, 0 to 6K, branding. Man, branding is everything. Marketing is everything. People buy the brand. They buy based on trust. That means they buy on emotion. They don't necessarily always buy on logic. So it doesn't matter if you clean better than anybody, you have the best equipment. If you're not able to brand yourself as that premium guy, nobody is going to see you, and two, nobody's really going to care. You know, they're just going to see you and compare you to the other guy who doesn't have, you know, a wrapped truck or signs or, you know, a good polo and a hat that has your logo on it. If you're not appearing professional, you're not going to be able to charge these premium prices. So this is where you should really start investing in a good website. You know, I use 180 Sites. I think I pay $300 a month. They do my SEO, but my site looks incredible. Everybody who goes on it says it's amazing. The mobile site looks great. It loads fast. You know, I used to use Wix. Those things kind of take, you know, it's good to get started. I think it's like $30 a month. But once you really start getting to this point, you need to invest in your website. You know, I know guys that they don't run any ads, whatever. They just dialed in their Google and their SEO, and they do pretty well, and their website looks great, and they're getting a lot of organic traffic, which is great. So you need to be investing in this stuff early on because it's not one of those things that you're going to see a result right away. You know, SEO, websites, your relevance on Google, those things can take time. So if you can get this thing started soon, it's going to be a lot better because by the time you're running paid ads, these things are working in tandem with each other. And that way, not all your eggs are in one basket. So yeah, just, you know, get your equipment. I'm not saying you need to spend 5 grand on a wrap for your truck, but you know, some A-frame signs on every job. You know, just really like focus on the branding. Look professional. Hire somebody on Fiverr to make you a logo or make a logo on ChatGPT. I don't care what you do. Be smart with it, but you really want to focus on your branding. 0 to 7K. This is where I think you should really start focusing on your systems. Um, you know, having a CRM, whether that's Go High Level, Jobber, whatever you want to do, just expect this is going to be a monthly expense, but it's an investment because I'm able to organize all my clients' data, see what services they got, and more importantly, I can retarget them. I can send email campaigns, SMS campaigns. I can put people on subscription services. I can send invoices, which look professional instead of just texting somebody the price or telling it to them over the phone. You want to have something that makes you look legit. Okay, this is part of the branding as well as having a system in place. So I use Go High Level. I think it's the most versatile, you know, CRM out there, but you can use whatever you're comfortable with. I think the regular Go High Level price is like $97 a month, but you can literally do everything from it. It's insane. Um, and reviews, obviously, you want to have a system down where you automate sending these people review requests and you want to collect them. Like Google reviews go a long, long way. Do not skimp out on them. I know it's hard to convince somebody to give you a review. It's hard to text them to give you a review or call them. Usually, when you ask them the first time, they either do it right away or they're not going to do it. And so that's why I invested in these little QR codes, these little cards that I carry around that you can tap or scan. And what I like to do, little trick, is I'm sure most of you guys who have tried to collect reviews understand the frustration. But when I bought this card, every job that I went to, I just try to be like, hey, I just bought this. I just want to make sure it works. Would you mind scanning it or tapping it? And then boom, it opens it up right away on their phone. And usually you can try to just close them right there on the spot. Little hack right there. 0 to 8K, this is just consistency now. Now you kind of understand what it took to get to this point. You just can't fall off now. You have to do all these things, but better. You have to be more efficient. You have to understand that your time is super valuable now because at this point, you are every single part of your business, and without you, the business will fall apart. And that's where we start investing our money now. Now that our time is spread really thin and we are in every aspect of our business, we want to start leveraging our capital. Okay. And that means paid ads. Like I said, SEO is one of those things that takes a little bit of time, but paid ads, they work right away. Most of the clients that sign up with us when we start running ads, they're getting leads within the first day or two. Okay. I've had guys that get leads within the first hour. So paid ads is great. You can learn this yourself. If you're under this 10K mark, I mean, there's no reason why you can't. But if your time is spread thin, you should consider investing in a marketing agency that knows what they're doing. There's a lot of shitty ones out there because your time is valuable. You have a lot of jobs, but you want to keep the pipeline full. So you want to make sure that these people are, or your company is constantly in people's feeds and you're constantly retargeting new people. You don't want to run dry and then be burnt out at the same time. You want to be double dipping right here. And once you get to this 10K, man, I mean, it's really all these things, just scale them, right? That means better equipment, maybe hire a videographer to follow you around, to put content, better ads. Maybe that's where you start investing more in a website. Maybe you go from something like Wix to 180 sites or something like that. Once you're at that 10K point, you need to invest that money, okay? Because you're going to make it back and then some. And this is going to afford you not only the time, but the money to bring on an employee so that they can do the gutter cleans, the window cleans, move the equipment, go to the store and buy all the stuff. And you're doing estimates, you're collecting reviews, you're out there, meeting other business owners. You are the face of your business. So super simple, super easy. Like I said, you don't need to go in this particular order right here, but I think this is just a good basic blueprint of how to get to this 10K point. And I'll end with this. It's not as hard as you think. Okay. When I first started and I made like 4K the first month, I was like, I'm burnt out. But I made 4K. I made as much as I did in my regular job and I'm working for myself. And you don't want to get complacent there. You really want to understand that getting to 10K is actually not that hard. It's just doing all these things that I said consistently and efficiently. So don't let that self-limiting belief kind of put you in a box, okay? 10K is not that much. Sometimes we do jobs for $1,000 or $2,000. So it's just a couple of those jobs. You need to think of it that way, okay? And if that means you need to raise your prices or whatever you need to do, but this 10K point is super achievable, especially with a one-man crew. Okay, after I got to 10K, that's when I brought on my first person. But I see guys that bring on their first person at like 7K and they just eat a shit sandwich, give the money to the employee because they know that this employee is going to help them scale. So everyone is running their own race. I'm not telling you this is like, the gospel right here, but just take this basic blueprint. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM or whatever. I'm always trying to help people out. And like I said, once you get to this 10K point, that's when you should really start investing big in your business. It will pay you back. So, scared money, don't make none.